Hello and welcome to the King Heroes Journey podcast. My name is Beth Martins, and today it is a solo stream with me. And this is very rare these days. If you haven't noticed, I don't come on myself on my own very much. Where I do that a whole lot these days is in the House of Free Will, in the private, where I can be more myself and not censor anything that I have to say. But I got really inspired to come on and connect with you guys. It's been a while. Hello, T-Post. Welcome. Come say hi in the chat. Insane Lady is here. I'm going to see you soon. That's awesome. Welcome. Super glad to have you here. And so what inspired this stream was that I run a coaching certification training, for those of you who don't know. And our time to meet fell right on the new year. Now, I have been running around saying happy fake new year. So that's been a lot of fun for me. I've really enjoyed that. And I have a funny story about that. Hello, Michelle. I'm so glad you're here listening in. Good. I'm glad. Nice. So happy fake new year to you, Amos. Super good. So, I run around and shoot my mouth off about that and even wrote that into the description of today's stream. And then I was chatting with Ben Balderson today, and I just, threw out my happy fake new year because I get a chuckle every time I say that. And he goes, oh, well, in my world, it's not the fake new year at all. And that he said that life comes from destruction, something to that effect. A little bit of paraphrase there. And so, as usual, like I blew my mind and my paradigm. I might not be saying happy fake new year anymore. Got to take some fun out of it. But guess what? I love the truth more than that. And so that inspired me to invite him on for Monday, this coming 6th, to talk about how life comes from death and destruction, because that is one of my favorite topics, to take the mystery out of death to the degree that it could be, and to stop making that our enemy, because it is the worst enemy within that you could have, but it doesn't need to be that way. And hello, M, nice to see you. Yes, here's to growing of the light. It is very refreshing. We actually have a beautiful sunny day outside. It's kind of bitter cold, but wow, not a trail in the sky, and that's really, really beautiful. Now I go to, I think it's about 5:30 already before the sky is completely dark compared to 4:30. That's pretty cool. I love that. It's very, very good. So today I'm going to be doing some readings, and what we're going to do is I have 4 decks. Now I'll preempt it just to let you snail trails. Yeah. Welcome, Elliot. Nice to see you. I am not a, mystic woo-woo. It used to get, right at the peak of the solstice, it was black at 4:30. So that's us in the further north kind of part of the continent. And Stacy is here. Welcome. So great to have you here. Really glad. And I have 4 decks of cards. I am not the quintessential, turn to a card every time I have a question kind of thing. I'll even, full disclosure, I'll say that the cards often don't work for me. There's something about it. It's the same with, say, I was to do somebody's personality quiz or those kind of things. They also don't work on me, just because I've been the technician in the back end of those things so much, both within myself and then in creating that. If you haven't yet done a quiz at my website, by the way, you can visit bethmartins.com. And in 10 minutes, you find out where you are on the path of purpose. So it's pretty cool. There's 8 videos that go along with each of the archetypes, so you can get familiar with their gifts and their shadows. And but the cards can be fun. They're just fun. So I pulled them out for my my New Year's gathering for the Journey Code group. I didn't feel like it was a good time to just run a class on New Year's Day. So we created an event, and I have 4 decks, and it was super fun and just really inspiring. So the first deck that I have is called Nature's Whisper. And these ones are like, okay, I'm not a huge fan of these, but they're a thing. And then the second one is Carolyn Miss's Archetype cards. And if you don't know, then her book was extremely instrumental in me surviving cancer back in when I was diagnosed in 1999. It took me 3 years. And her book, Sacred Contract, was my sacred contracts, I believe, was my door into exactly why I was stuck the way I was. And I was able to use that work to go from being dying to living in a very short time, just for having seen myself and brought that much of myself out of the unconscious. Now, having said all of that, I don't really like these cards either, but they're there and they're extensive. I don't think she wrote these because it doesn't have her sort of brilliant essence in it. Next, I'm going to show you, just so the cards don't fall apart, I'm going to show you the little book that comes with the Osho heart cards. And I love these because my friend created them. I haven't been in contact with her for a very long time. And her name is Anand Kamalta from her Osho days. Osho is kind of controversial, and wasn't he the Rolls Royce guy that just had tons of Rolls Royces and was showing everybody how wealthy he was? But he said some pretty smart stuff, and she was amazing. So I really like her. And then finally, this, and it's not an Osho tarot, Elliot. It is heart cards. So the cards look like this, and they just have a word on them. So they're pretty open in terms of how to interpret them, which is good. And so the last deck is my Oracle of the Mermaids. I have some mermaid blood in me, and I don't talk about that much or pull out the mythology that much. It has evolved a lot with my work. It really became the king hero archetypes, the archetypes of the hero's journey, not just the mermaid archetypes. So it's a little bit of a throwback, but I have a nice deck, and it's probably my favorite of all of these. And yeah, he was a ballon or a balloon. I'm not sure what a ballon is. Ballon. Okay, there's a spelling. I still don't know that word. You might have to define it for me. And so what we're going to do is you can put your hand up in the chat and tell me which of the decks that you want. Maybe I'll just put this, the 4 of them here so you can recognize them. And he was bawling. Okay. Does that mean he was crying, or he's a ball earther, or what does that mean? You wouldn't believe how many times I get messages from people and I have to start looking things up in the dictionary or asking a search about, what is this colloquialism or this saying or these letters, all this. I just live in my own little world. Rich. Okay, Rich. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that very much. Okay, we've got the Carolyn and the mermaid and Osho heart. Okay, so here's a list of the cards. And so if you would like me to pull one for you, and you could hold an intention, right? So a classic intention at this stage of the game when we're in that, winter stage before life renews. What would you want to be incubating right now? Right? And that could be your question. What could be a clear focus, a clear direction, some way to make use of your life and your energy? Because I don't know about you guys, but I have a little more time on my hands these days. The main reason being, there's a few reasons, but the main reason being that I am not investing my energy in studying the psyops and the conspiracies and the, whether that's flat or round or, has changed over time or whatever. I'm sure there's some truth in everything, and that's fantastic, and you can find it. And I'm not, putting anybody down if you're still there, but I have slowly removed my attention from that with some trust and some faith that, if I need to know what the word ballin means, somebody's going to tell me. In my community, I have the fortune of having good community around me. So with more time, then I've been able to go inside more. We've created a lot more in the House of Free Will. Now there is something called Satsang Sundays. If you guys don't know what Satsang is, it is the exact translation is the company of truth. Sat being truth, and Sang being that union or that keeping the company of. And so we're listening to things that are inspiring, sometimes the work of Lester Levinson. I might throw in some Gangaji there. Any Gangaji fans out there, by the way? I'm new to it. I've heard her name over the years, but there's a lot of food for soul in there. And it's been just super, super helpful and nourishing for me. at this time. And it's 11:11. It's 111 here. Nice. All right. So if you like, then you could put up your hand and let me know if you would like a nature card or a Carol and Miss archetype card or a mermaid card or an Osho heart card. And you can ask a question if you want, or you can hold that private if you want as well. And if you have a question, I might comment on that. And then that'll come through me to you. This is not, there's no, I like to say there's no magic in these cards whatsoever. There, or no power in you. Magic is a dicey word, although at times I can still relate to it. But the power and the magic is really in you, right? And to a great degree, we have hidden that stuff in our own unconscious. And the unconscious, it's not mystical, it's not evil, it's not anything, although it can interact with evil, is my latest take on that. But if more of us lives in the unconscious, which means it's hidden from us and we just can't see it, we can't feel it, we can't know it, we can't name it, and therefore we can't do anything about it, right? Then you're a little bit powerless to what end up being patterns in your life, because they don't go away. They just express in more gross ways, larger ways that could get your attention, right? So I'll just use the example of when I was fighting for my life pre-diagnosis. I didn't even know I was fighting for my life yet. I was in denial of that, and I would still go to work and I would still do everything that was expected of me. And hello, Maya, I'm so glad you're here. You would like a mermaid card. Nice. You're in our group yesterday. So I'll say that. I'll just finish saying this and we'll get right to that. And so I had created a life that I was miserable in. Not the whole thing. Now, if it was all misery, then I just wouldn't be there. That would have been simple. But for the most part, it's all about inner conflict. And by the way, this is my talk at Anarchapulco this year. That's coming up in February, I believe. 17th is the start date. And I'm going to be there. I just heard Joel Salatin is going to be there. That's pretty exciting. I've had an idea to track him down, maybe do an interview with him at some point, maybe there. We shall see. And then, so yeah, if you've got a lot of weight in your unconscious, it's going to express in your life. For me, it had to get so extreme that I was nearly dead and had this stage 4 cancer diagnosis before I'm like, oh, I think I need to go looking for something. Now, I had already been meditating for a decade. I'd been to India 8 times. I considered myself an inward seeker. But there are layers and there are levels and there are different ways that we use our spiritual life to get in and to get out. Same thing with these cards and divination, that if you're using it to, escape reality, then it's not going to work for you. But if you're using it to get deeper into reality and see more of what you don't see, then it becomes kind of an exciting game. Now, the results can be like, you got hit in the solar plexus, or it can be just a moment of truth, like, oh yeah. And it's a moment of truth because you already knew it. It was just more hidden from you. And so if more of us play this game of bringing up and out what is in there inside of us, that's the gifts and the shadows, by the way. You don't get to suppress one and express the other clearly. They both go down into the dungeon, and so you can start to get more control of your life. In the spiritual circles, people, oh, you don't have control. I go the other direction. You actually have all of the control, but it's through programming that we end up pretending that we don't and feeling that we don't, not just pretending. And so I'll probably say more and more about that. But since Maya would like an archetype card, I'm going to put that comment up, and I'm going to cut the deck for you while you hold in mind what you are what you're wanting. And Michelle, you said you've seen Gangaji and found her a way to connect to a place of stillness at the time. Nice, awesome. And Amos said you're still kicking the last bits of your scarcity program. Oh, good for you, last bits. That's amazing. And Amos will take a nature card. Perfect. All right. Gangaji was a student of Papaji. Yeah, I watched a little bit of him as well, who in turn was a student of Ramana Maharishi, who is a pool of absolute stillness. And so now you prefer to go directly to the source. There you go. Yeah, it's fun to follow those lineages. All right, Maya, without further ado, this is a beautiful card. I think we actually pulled this one on in our meeting on the 1st, and it's called Falling in Love. So it looks pretty romantic. It looks pretty electric. It looks pretty wild. I mean, we're in a mermaid deck, so it's going to have that wild quality. And it says, kissing the divine in another, in yourself. So I'll read that again. Kissing the divine in another, in yourself. Right? And that's the really beautiful discovery of any kind of inner work. When you find yourself, you have found everybody. Right? There was one day we went out and beautiful. Hey, Maya? Oh, throwing cards on the ground as usual. So there was a day we went out, my son and I, shopping, and shopping actually used to be one of my worst possible activities. When he was a child, it was just like, oh, take this painful medicine and get out here. And, hopefully everybody's in one piece. And so I've been slowly refining that and having a lot of success. The last time we went in, I went with the intention to see myself in everyone. And it was actually fascinating because it really brought out my ability to see where they're at with their misery, with the heaviness, with the distraction, and all of that kind of thing, which is an interesting thing. It's then there's true empathy there, without judgment, without anything, just clear seeing. And that's what I always hope for people, and myself, of course. And so, Stacy, it's your turn for a mermaid card. And good, Maya. I'm glad you can resonate with that card. It's pretty fun. That symbol of romantic love can go much deeper, and there can be a romance with the divine. Let me, by the way, go to Rokfin. This is took me that long to get on there, and if anybody wants to be on Rokfin, there is a link here in the chat. So I will do my best to keep a better eye on Rokfin. So if you do want a card, then you can get one. All right, Stacy, I've got you in mind. Maybe you've got a question in mind, and I am cutting the deck. All right, so this one is called the Crane Bag. And it says underneath, it says, sacred ocean medicine, clutter, declutter, and choice. So yeah, New Year is actually an amazing time to remove the things that are not of use anymore, that do not give you, pleasure and beauty anymore, that are not being appreciated, that take your clear space away. I had some of the best advice. I worked with somebody who helped me to declutter my home and my closet and do a whole other thing I won't talk about right now. And she would say, clear a shelf and deal with all that stuff. And then don't put anything on that shelf, and just leave the shelf blank. Right? It's actually a really good spiritual principle, because the first thing you want to do, you got to clear space. Like, oh, put this here and put that there and put that. And what if you just had space, and then mindfully added when it was, oh, this makes perfect sense that this should be here in this space. So that's just one aspect of that card, the Crane Bag. It's a little deep. If you go out of your way to message me at my website and ask me for a deeper description from the book, I can do that. But I'll leave that in your hands. All right. So on the theme of scarcity programming, there you go. Yep. Don't get tired of it, because we are also in collective consciousness. So when you deal with it for yourself, you will be able to start taking it on for others, and the work goes on. So one of my favorite things to remember these days is to just settle into the work. But can you have massive, enormous breakthroughs in the meantime and see evidence for that? Absolutely, Amos. So you're welcome, Stacy. So good. And nature card. Okay, stay focused. All right, so I'm holding Amos in mind and shuffling this deck for that question. It's a great question, or a great intention. Yeah, scarcity program is that whole thing, whether life is scarce or love is scarce or feeling a scarcity of control or whatever it is. And I just sensed this was Amos's card. Ah, okay. This one is called The Big Picture. And we got a ball earth on there. So they're obviously not the flatters going on there. And kind of an angel and a rainbow. So we got some globalist agenda in here. Hello, Dana. Nice to see you as well. Glad you're here. Welcome. We're pulling cards. And so, yeah, that's the big picture. Let me know, Amos, if that speaks to you in any way. And then we'll take it from there. So Stacy, I believe, is next. Am I right? Stacy would like a mermaid card. Or did I already do this? No, I did already do Stacy once. Okay, there you go. And Monotonous Channel. Welcome. Glad to have you here. A Carolyn Miss Archetype card. Yes, yes. So what's really funny about this deck for me, I'll just, while I'm shuffling and holding you in mind, Monotonous's channel, is that I have, this is not a little deck. Look how big this deck is. It's huge. I don't know the number of cards offhand, but this is pretty big. And the number of times that I pull the debutante card is freakish. Like there must be something in there for me. I don't know. I don't feel it. I don't see it. RYNE, Rhine is you. Okay. I don't get that either. Rhine. All right. Ryan? No. Ryan? It could be how you spell Ryan. There you go. Okay, one more shuffle. And Dana wants a nature card after that. Perfect. Your name. Nice. Nice to meet you. Thank you for telling me your name. I appreciate that so much. And this card, interesting. This is actually a really beautiful card. It's called The Fool. So I believe there is a tarot card. Well, I know there is a tarot card called The Fool, and I'll read the bottom here. So it has two attributes. The light attribute is fearlessly revealing emotion, helping people laugh at absurdity and hypocrisy. So those are good qualities. And then the shadow is using humor to wound rather than liberate. Denial of your emotional truth. So that's a pretty deep card, actually. I like that one. There might be a trickster in here, but to me, this is also the trickster. To me, this is also one that goes in the journey archetypes along the lines of the alchemist, that this gifts of the trickster show up. And then so fearlessly revealing emotion, being yourself, being what, that could have been called a fool just for being yourself, not trying to be something that other people want you to do, and they're going to get called a fool for that. And then revealing emotion, right? A lot of people have their emotions so close and hidden and guarded. I've been accused of being guarded myself. And I am very particular in where I reveal and with whom I reveal. I am particular. That's true. But I'm not guarded. This is one thing I don't feel. But, as I'm getting to know somebody, or I'm in a new situation or anything like that, is this a place where I can be myself and enjoy that? Or is this a place I'm going to be myself and I'm going to get a kick for that? I had enough kicks in my life. I'm unless God intends that for me, or however you say God, life with a capital L is my new favorite one, then that's how it goes. So using humor to wound. Now, I want to say something about that, because pride in the scale of emotion, or on the scale of emotion, is exactly where you use humor to wound, where things, seem funny, usually about other people, or, say they are attacking you on that same theme I was talking about. And then you laugh at them, and you laugh at their face, or you laugh in the face of danger, all of that. Might have to think about that last example, but it definitely can be pride. And while there's laughter and there's a certain weird joy, it's a twisted joy. It's a joy that comes from fear, where you actually get, you get pleasure out of other people's pain. and then a denial of emotional truth. And then pride is the biggest way we hide the rest of the emotions and the programs, because we don't think anything's wrong with us. We're right, we're superior or inferior, which feels right, and we're asserting our separateness. So that's a powerful card. Let me know, Monotonous, if that resonates. What did you say here? Let's see. You're that fool, if anything, for sure. You're very, very welcome. You're very, very welcome. There you go. All right. This is so fun. I love it. And hello, Gabriella. Nice to see you. You'd like to have an archetype card as well. All right. God bless Carolyn Miss. I have never to this day spoken with her or met her. She has had an enormous impact on my life. I might not have lived, literally, if I hadn't found the keys to what was causing me to be so sick a long time ago, more than 20. I think we're going on 25 years ago already. My math isn't great, though. And here we are in the 2025. What's the number for that? The 2025 again? 2 plus, it would be 7 plus 2 is a 9 year. It's a 9 year. Yeah. Do we have any people around here that want to talk about the nines? I know the nines is like really good and special. Did we have enough fear porn coming at us about what was going to come up this year? And, they're trying to, of course, pandemic us again. But it's too late, right? It's over. That they played that. Speaking of cards, they played that card so big. All right. Okay. So, Gabriella, I have your card here. If you're holding your thought about it in mind, this is the Samaritan. So Samaritans, we know from, I believe that was one of the stories in the Bible, the Good Samaritan. And the light attribute is that it refines your capacity to help those you would prefer to ignore, right? So suffering is easy to turn away from. It's just like, ugh, I can't handle it. I got enough of my own problems. I'm just going to go by. Yeah, that person is getting the shit kicking. I'm just going to let that go. And the Samaritan is the one that will show up, which is amazing, right? We need those people. I would put the Samaritan into my nurturer, which are bigger categories on the hero's journey. And the shadow attribute being exacting appreciation and recognition for the help you offer. No, I don't get that. Exacting appreciation and recognition for the help you offer. Exacting. There's something in there. So let me know if anyone wants to help me with the meaning of that. But let me know, Gabriella, if that speaks to you at all, the Samaritan, if that's been a part of your life. All right. H. Stoppler, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here. And I would say happy fake New Year, but now I'm on a different track already. See, I like the truth even more than I like to have fun. And the Osho card is so sweet. These are just so you can see this beautiful little pile. They're made with so much love and care. I just happen to know this person. And so as you're holding any kind of a question, maybe for intention and for direction in mind, then here is your card. How apropos. Truth. Can you all see that? There you go. How sweet. I believe that's Osho's signature there. And truth is truth. Truth is the real thing. What do you want more than truth? I just spent a lot of hours over the holiday creating new archetype cards. And I also have opened an opportunity for people to do personal archetype readings with me of their hero's journey archetypes, of which these are not that, although they could be, very instrumental in that. But this is based on my system of the 8 archetypes of the hero's journey, as I write about it in my book Journey, which is right there. And there it is. So you can still order this. And if you decide to book a reading with me, it comes with a PDF copy of my book, or if you book it with coaching, I send you a hard copy of my book along with it. It also comes with 8 videos. It was going to be 1 video of deprogramming all the archetypes, and I just went to town. I took 6 hours and created 8 videos, so a lot more detail about the questions you want to ask yourself to bring up shadows, and then the common programs and how to actually use those in a guided way. So this ended up to be quite a resource. The videos are from about 20 minutes to 35 minutes each. So it's a deep dive. And if you, and then the last thing is I created archetype cards. I refined them. I rewrote some of them. I made them into 2 pages. And these are going to be a free bonus for anybody that books the reading with me by January 7th. So I will grab a link to that if anybody needs some guidance and they want it more one-on-one and less willy-nilly, but really based on your patterns and where you're at in your life. Then, and I'm going to put this comment up before I lose that. Then you can book it at the link in my chat here. All right. So Sane Lady would like a Caroline Miss Archetype card as well. I have the great pleasure of being close to Sane Lady. I get to have lunch with her this weekend, and it's been fantastic. She came to Anarchapulco with me last year, like heroically so, because there were just so many things that were kind of crazy there with the weather, and everybody got sick, and it was nutball. So I'm heading there this year. If you guys want to come, make sure before you book your ticket to ask me for a code. It is, I can just tell you what it is right now. It's free will, all caps and all one word. And you can get 10% savings on the ticket, which is nice because it's it's not a little ticket, but it is very worthwhile. It's going to be fantastic. Lots of, I hear Tom Barnett is going to be there, and Andy Kaufman is back, and Steve Falconer is back. That's my favorite. I'm going to get to be neighbors with Steve Falconer again. All right, my dear. So here is your card from the Caroline Mystic. Interesting. What do you think of this, Patty? It's the Hermit card. Do we all not have some hermit in us? I definitely have some hermit in me. There's, it's pretty hard to get me into public for any random entertainment reason or anything like that. And at some point, you just become a little disillusioned with the world. You've been to the shows, you've been to the movies, you've been to all the dinners, you've been to the events, and at some point, you just saw through. Like, there's all good things, and it's all, to me, the good part is still about connection. That is something I'll still go out of my way for with good people. But why go running looking for something when you already know that it's empty? And that the real goodness and the real happiness with a capital H is actually found inside yourself. And that's a cliche for a reason. All right. So the light attribute of the Hermit seeks solitude to focus intently on the inner life, serves personal creativity, which it really does, by the way. That's how I ended up just, filling my plate full of activities over the holidays of my own making. All that inner work, it just always inevitably erupts in some creative outer work. The shadow of the Hermit being withdraws from society out of fear or negative judgments of others, refusing to help those in need. Interesting. Some of those hermits, like you can think about some of the hermits in your life, and the possibility that it can be a meanness, and maybe people have felt that about me too, because but it's certainly not my intention. It's just the sheer disillusionment. So, Sane Lady, Patty, let me know if that resonates for you, if you can relate to that at all. And Helen, nice. I'm glad to know your name. Amos said, you'll help others with becoming aware of their programs as I deal with mine. Well, you should become a coach. You should come and do the deprogramming coaching certification called Journey Code. It would be so fun to host you. You're not always taking the rainbow energy and God's promise back for your truther folks. You love it. 7 colors, not 6. Very nice. I'm glad, Amos. I had missed that. And Michelle, I will definitely pull a card from you, and you'll let the intuition pull from the deck. Okay, so I am going to grab the mermaid deck because I definitely feel mermaidy around you. There's such a thing. So I'm holding you in mind, Michelle. It's been amazing to have you in my community. I know you've gone through so much, and I've seen you grow so much, and it's a really beautiful thing. So I honor your presence and your life. And here is your card fancy this. Freedom. And we got the rebel badass freedom version of it going on, right? So let me know if that resonates. Doesn't seem too far off. And the the gift is independence and self-determination. There you go. I think independence and self-determination are can be so frightening for people, because what does it mean is a whole lot of responsibility. That, you did it, you're doing it, you're going to do it, whatever it is. Good, bad, ugly, you did it. Even if it really seems like it happened to others. This was a kind of killer year for me in a way. I have 3 situations where people are taking advantage of me, nurturer style. So here I go. That's why I had to teach the nurturer course this year. And I'm still teaching myself. So don't worry if you're still working on your issues. And, just to come to the other side and get to the truth of, I did it. I did it. How did I do it? I did it, but I did it. That's the bottom line. And then go from there. So you don't have to keep doing it. Wish me luck on that. And yes, I have considered lining up an interview with her. It would be interesting. I don't know if I could find her. And she's not super awake at all. She believed in the pandemic. And same thing with Gangaji. I was listening to stuff around 9/11 and the pandemic. And they drank all that Kool-Aid, darn it. How do you like fully awaken and then you drink the Kool-Aid? Not maybe Carolyn Miss, not so much, but you just think, yeah, anyway. So 9 is the completion year. And completion can be a good thing. There you go. Yep. And at the completion of anything is the beginning of everything, right? So there's no difference between the end and the beginning. And that's how my archetypes work in my work. So as soon as you get to the end, you get all the way, supposedly, some people think of it as a ladder, climbing up the ladder. As soon as you're at the top, you're at the bottom again, but it's a new bottom. And it has that infinite potential for spiraling. Hopefully you've heard some of my work on ascension myth busting. So you know that going up infinitely is not the answer by any stretch of the imagination. It actually is will hold you back. And Michelle, yes, I would love to pull an archetype card for you as well. You like Naika's suggestion of leaving it for me to choose. Okay, so I would like to pull out an Osho heart card for you, Michelle. And I believe you're coming for a reading too, if you're the right one. I don't know if you've been getting my messages, but definitely let me know. Sorry, I'm really behind on the comments here, but let me go to the bottom. I'll have to go back. And you love your hermit. He's a cool dude. Nice. Epic journey with you. Oh, that's nice. And perhaps it's about healthy boundaries. Of course. Exactly. And good. I'm glad. So, and good, Gabrielle, it does speak to you. Fantastic. Okay. So here is a card for, where the heck was I? Michelle, right? There we go. Aha. Patience. Now, I do recommend not praying for patience. Don't pray for that. You know why? Because you're going to call in circumstances that require patience, because patience is already inside of you. You don't need that. You don't need to go get that. But sometimes you need to be reminded things are incubating. When you think about, by the way, huge shout out to my son who just turned 18. Pretty excited for him. As a mama, I was just thinking that all the fireworks were going off for me, because it's like, wow, 18 years. It was mind blowing, literally, for me. And so then, if you think about the growing of a child and all of those, what can be really tough times, finding yourself as a parent and, finding your parents inside you and all the wrestling and the inner conflict and outer conflict. And I had a good, my son is a really good rebel, and he knew how to just come right up against me strong. And we had some tough times, and then, it forced me to do inner work that I may never have done before. And I was able to reclaim the relationship in the most priceless way that has been just off the charts amazing. The level of communication, he woke himself up. He has taught himself. He never wanted to take any suggestions, of course, like zero. And I got to know that about him. Okay, if I just leave it to him, then he dives in and learns not just a little bit, but everything. Like, I don't want to be just like a proud mama, but like almost genius level, that he would go to that degree of proficiency in things. So it's pretty exciting as a guitar player. As I mentioned, his music is here on the intro and the outro. I would love it as an 18th birthday present, if you haven't already, to go and sub to Liam. I'm going to drop this link in the chat while I look for the next card. And alrighty, so exacting appreciation. Thank you, my definition team here. Demanding appreciation. Exacting means demanding recognition, right? Well, that never goes well, demanding, right? One of the programs I teach people to let go of is the want for love and approval, the fear that you're not going to have love and approval. And then, so what do you do when you can't get love and approval from people? Is you try to force them. You demand it, and that becomes another program, wanting to control them. So yeah, thank you so much. There you go. I appreciate that. And let's see. So if I've missed anything before this, let me know. And it's Dana's turn to get a nature card. All right. Nature's Whisper. Here's the deck. So Dana, I'll invite you to hold some kind of question or intention in mind. Maybe it's how you're going to create with your truth and your... Now, the nature can very much be a sign of the child archetype, by the way. So just even choosing nature cards can be coming from that nature child place. And let's see what the card is. It's called Ideal Course of Action. So this is, I imagine, for a lot of people, exactly the question. What is the ideal course of action, right? We are faced with literally thousands of decisions every single day. Is it 1,000 a day, or like, anyway, lots? And we always want the ideal course of action. We want the right course of action, and we don't want the wrong course of action. So the wanting for the right one and the not wanting for the wrong one create what can be a kind of spin inside yourself. You're going strong in two directions. It means you go nowhere. And people often won't take action because they cannot get to this place where they know what's right and they know what's wrong. You can have some intuitions and you can do a lot of release work. I teach a decision process, and I teach my coaches how to help other people go through a decision process, which is extensive but incredibly effective. So you got some dandelions going to seed. You got a lotus. You got a lion on the lotus. You got a lizard in the hair. I like that, lizard in the hair. Nice. This one's pretty mermaidy, if you ask me. Don't see a tail, but she's in water. Got a polar bear. I don't know what this person was thinking about, if they were just going to town with art, or if there's like, really strong symbolic intention in here or not. I don't know. But anyway, that's for you, Dana. So I hope you resonate. Let me know. And hello, Mental Pancakes. Nice to see you. Nice to have pancakes. I eat a lot less pancakes these days. I have changed my diet a whole lot these days. And I'm getting to a place where I feel a lot more confident to recommend the Love Your Liver with Dr. Garrett Smith. I'm seeing it. Things work. Like, it's not all mystery. Some things you can see exactly how they work, and it's more predictable and steadily moving towards greater and greater health. Watching my taste for food has completely changed as I've simplified and I've reduced vitamin A and all kinds of other poisons out of my food and made a lot of changes. Emotionally, it's intense because food and emotions are such a big thing, but I see results in myself. I see results in other people, and especially for the long term. So that's that. And Dana said the 9 encourages us to let go. There you go. It's always the good theme. Clear out, finish up things, and allow space for the new to come in. Perfect. That's awesome. And interesting, I chose the Osho card. That was your initial thought. There you go. And you don't believe in prayer? Well, that's totally fine, because prayer is not dependent on belief whatsoever. And the only true prayer is gratitude. Beautiful. That's lovely. And no worries about the typos. And thank you, Maya. I appreciate that. Yeah, he's we got to play together. He asked me what I wanted for Christmas this year, and I said I wanted to play and sing with him. So that's what he would never do. As soon as he got past that point where someone must have told him don't sing or something. He has the most beautiful voice, perfect tone. And of course, when you're related to someone and you sing together, the voices resonate in a very different way. I always wanted to sing with my family. We would, and I still had a family, we would sing grace for all of our big meals. And that was amazing. So there's a special kind of harmony between voices. So we got to sing a little bit together. I would sing a tone and he would harmonize, or I would harmonize to his tone. And then his dad and him brought their guitars over for Christmas dinner. So we had a little jam session. I got to record it. It was so special for me. I really, really loved it. And thank you, Michelle. Appreciate that as well. So there you go. Would anybody else like to have a card read? I think I have got to the bottom. Please do tell me if you had your hand up and I missed it for any reason in the chat here. But I think I've got everybody so far. And let's see. Beautiful card. You resonate with what I said about so many choices. Wanting to know the right ideal choice keeps us stuck in a loop with no action. Exactly. And once you see that in the unconscious, then you can begin to let what basically is attachment and aversion go. Attachment to the right, aversion to the wrong. Let all of that go, and then see what is the natural action. And in some of my best moments, I am seeing how action happens, what feels to be really truly by itself. That I'm not in action. I am the witness, the still witness of action and no action. And the action doesn't take me so far out of my stillness as it used to, for sure. And EW, nice to see you. Yes, I would love to pull a card for you. Would you like to choose? We have the nature cards, we got the mermaid cards, we got Carolyn Mrs. Archetype deck, and we have Osho heart cards. So let me know which one you would like. Nice, Michelle. I like that. Prayer is a petition. Exactly, like begging for what you want. Or I do like one kind of petition prayer, and it's to petition God to send angels somewhere. So I have a friend, I'm not going to name them for their privacy, but they are struggling with their health intensely. And so with all of you as my witness, I would like to petition God to send a legion of angels to bring about the greatest possible ease and well-being in this time. And you're very welcome, Dana. In the seeing is the doing. Beautiful. That's amazing. And whatever I would like to choose. All right. So I'm going to pull do you mind if I ask if you're a man or a woman? I might not pull a mermaid card. That was my first choice. But I don't go for the merman thing. That doesn't, it's King Heroes all the way. Okay. No merman. Joseph Finnegan, hello. Happy New Year to you as well. Welcome. A female Gemini. Okay, very good. So mermaid it is. Definitely a feminine energy. Many of the archetypes that I work with on the hero's journey are masculine in nature, but they came through the feminine in the mermaid. We, of course, are both energies. You can't separate them. They are one and the same. But they can go to war with each other. And that's often the case. Another dichotomy place. Oh, and I got a message from somebody that says they can't see the chat for some reason, but she would like a card. So Jacqueline Rose, I see your message, and I will pull yours next. All right. So here we go. EW. And this one is called the present. So you can get some double meaning here, right? It could be the gift, and it could also be this moment right now. And it's pretty cliche in the spiritual world, but for good reason in this case, that if you're going to do anything, any kind of healing work, any kind of changes, it can only be done right now. Right? You can't go back and fix stuff. You can't go forward. Although you can prevent, you can definitely mitigate future damage by doing work. But where do you do that? In the present, right now. So let's see what this says. It says gift, treasure, revelation of own value, and nowness. So it's going for both of those meanings of present as well. And let's see if there's anything in the card that is interesting. She's wearing a key that's hanging from her tattoo. Maybe it's another tattoo. So yeah, the present is the key. And just to go a little bit deeper on that, the present is where you're going to find all of your inner experiences that stand in the way of you actually feeling free, right? Because this is only obscured. It's never gone. We don't have to create freedom. That would be beyond us. But the freedom that's already there, that's all the hard wiring. We got that stuff. It can't go away. And where are you going to find that? Behind the inner experience that's happening right now. Sometimes in my coaching, I will ask someone, so how do you feel about that? And they'll go, oh yeah, I was so angry and I did this and then this happened. And I'm like, no, but what about right now? How do you feel about that? And then they can connect with the now feeling, a little bit of a flaky way to say that. But what's there in this moment that actually, it'll feel terrible, but it is a door to seeing who you are. If you go all the way through it, if you meet it and allow it. And we need to only remember that we are already free. Exactly, Michelle, exactly. Now, if you just try to use your memory, oh, I'm free, I'm free, I'm free, I'm free. There's a certain goodness to that. But, one of the things I got sick doing was mantra. And just repeating over and over, I'm immortal, I'm blissful, I'm immortal, I'm blissful, amaramaham, maduramham. Sometimes that mantra still comes to me. And then I got so sick and nearly died. And it was kind of like, something's not working there, right? And what happens is that we just end up, giving the mind words to use. It stays up here and it never actually allows what's deep to come up and out. And that's when you remember you're free with no effort, with no added thought, with no exertion of any kind. It's just freedom is just there. So yeah, there you go. And perfect. He said, since you're on YouTube in the middle of the day, that mermaid looks like you too. There you go. Nice to do a reading for you, Elisa. Love to you as well. All right, so let's read a card for Jacqueline, and let's see if she chose a particular deck. And she did not. So I will choose a card for Jacqueline Rose out of, I think it's the Carolyn Mist deck. All right. Oh, and I just got a little message from Jesse Howell, who is the creator of the Missing Link podcast. I think he's over 1,000 podcasts now. The guy is a machine, but in a really good way. He was on the King Hero's Journey podcast, so you could go back and see some episodes from him. And he just announced that Garrett Smith is going to be on the King Hero's Journey January 17th. So pretty excited. It is going to blow Jesse's mind wide open. And, people don't like this stuff. I didn't want to like it. I didn't want to like it because I knew it was going to change my life. I didn't want to like it. I didn't want to watch it once. I didn't want to watch it the second time when Alex Zek had him on. I didn't want to watch it the third time. I didn't want to invite Garrett on for a first interview. I didn't want to invite him on for a second. But by then I'm starting to like, right? And little experiments, like going off of some of the supplements that I thought were so crucial and essential, and watching myself not die, not get sick, and get better. Right. And nothing's really broken, but I've been damaged in my life. I've been through severe, intense chemotherapy. Like the toxicity of that alone is shocking. Like many things. Grew up on antibiotics, grew up on a lot of shit food, who ate a lot of shit food when they were young. Oh my God. Hopefully you're not doing that anymore. So yeah, lots of strikes against me. Times when I vaccinated myself. Darn, I shouldn't say that. Like crazy, jabbed myself up on the way to India the first time. I was so sick before I left for my trip. I was already sick. And guess what? I was sick the whole time I was away. And so yeah, so many things to live down. Now I ended up pulling 2 cards for Jacqueline. And the first one is Mother. And yes, I'll read a Carolyn Miss card for you as well. Helen, I believe it was. So the light attributes of the mother: nurturance, patience, unconditional love, joy in giving birth to life. Right? How beautiful. This one I kind of jam into my nurturer archetype because, again, they are bigger categories. So that's all right on for my nurturer. And then the shadow attributes: smothering or abandoning children, instilling guilt in children for becoming independent, right? That's the big shadow of this mother, is that they don't want their children to grow. They don't want their children to be independent of them. They want people or the children to need them. Very big shadow, or very dark, evil shadow, because you're as a mother, your innermost desire is to create these independent beings who can take care of their lives and make good choices and navigate through life and do all the best things. And then so if you stop them from doing that, some mothers get jealous of their children. They don't want the teacher to surpass, or the student to surpass the teacher, to use another archetype. And so, yeah, this can be one to really clean up on, if you can relate to that. And then this is interesting, Jacqueline, who can't respond in the chat, but that's all right, is the athlete. And so it is a very distinct archetype, this athlete. It is a kind of go for it, maybe some overlap with my warrior. That warrior energy can be very athletic at times when it's time to get her done. And the light attributes of this one being dedication to transcending physical limits, including handicaps, development of personal willpower, and strength of spirit. The shadow of the athlete being misuse of athletic ability for selfish ends, false sense of invulnerability, and entitlement, which is interesting. Interesting quality of entitlement. That one's misuse of athletic ability for selfish ends. Like, who would, I guess, for the sake of just making money or that kind of thing, I guess. And then a false sense of invulnerability because you're so strong. Now, it's interesting that people can do incredible feats of athleticism and be driven by, some people would say, ego. It was the same in the spiritual world, that there was somebody who was meditating like 8 or 10 hours a day, and people are like, ooh, ah. And then it was my teacher at the time said, yeah, that's how strong his ego is, to make him sit there 8 and 10 hours a day. And so knowing where things come from is a really good idea. And yes, Maya, I will definitely pull one for your daughter, and I'll grab one for who I think to be Helen first. And she wanted, how did that go? The Carolyn Miss card. There it is. Is that why I was shuffling this deck? I think so. All right. This is so fun for me. I love it. Oh, and Jacqueline said, thank you. Sounds like a go for it reading. Nice. Good, Jacqueline. I'm so glad that worked out. All right. So Helen, this is interesting because this deck has blank cards. And this could be for a few different reasons. One is Carolyn is under the impression that you can create archetypes. I believe that to be true because certain things didn't exist. They probably root down. I'm a fan of rooting down, both into the programming and the archetypes, and seeing where things, she would use the example of a tech geek that didn't exist because we didn't have a tech world. But there always was some kind of tech. Right. It might not have been electronic tech, but other kind of tech. So there might have been that geek around. It's just not the guy who sits in his computer in the basement and never gets any sunshine, and you can see them on the street and know exactly what they do all day. The blank card can also be where there's not enough information to even bring up from the unconscious, meaning there's maybe not the opening for that. And there was a time we were in Nepal and we were going to see a palm reader, and there was one of the women that just couldn't get a reading from this guy. I don't know how many times she went, maybe 2 or 3 times, and she tried hard to get a reading out of him, and he would just, I can't remember exactly the context, but it was a kind of blank that he would draw. And in that case, it's maybe, just having such a big divide between you and your unconsciousness that it can be due to really intense, pain that's been put away in the unconscious that you're just not going to go to, or you think you've dealt with, but there's more layers. There's almost always more layers because programming is such a layer cake. And sometimes that blank can be, in that respect, you can also use it creatively to just like, okay, what do I know from my own unconscious? Now, if you're not satisfied with that, let me know, and I could pull another card. I also don't mind the instruction that say something, you get a card and it doesn't resonate with you at all, or anything that I say doesn't have any meaning for you. But what comes up for you about that? Right? When I pulled the debutante card again, I think it was last night, and then I'm just like, yeah, it doesn't work for me. Was my reaction. So there's some like kind of, little thing there for me to look at, and so you can still make use of it that way. And yeah, not as words, but a feeling of recognition. Exactly. That is the recognition itself. The recognition itself. All the feelings are not the recognition, but that's to me the real freedom, if we're still talking freedom. And then Maya, it's your turn for your daughter. That's awesome. Can you remind me how old? Oops. Can you remind me how old your daughter is, just so I can hold her in mind? And another mermaid card as well. Fun. These are getting a workout. Right on. So coming up on Monday, Ben Balderson is going to be coming on to talk about how life comes from death and destruction. And that's a little bit of the rebel in me talking, because I think that's fun, that life comes from death and destruction. It's not what people think, right? People chase life and they are terrified of death and destruction. 15. Nice. And then we waste the whole entire life right up until death, running from death. And there you are on death's door, and that's it. And that's all you got. So facing that sooner is really good. And then from the alchemist perspective that Ben is going to bring, that will be super, super fun. Okay, so Maya, your daughter gets 2 cards, because I'm not quite satisfied having pulled the same card that I did for somebody else, the present, but this is for a different person, so she might relate to that. And interesting, mother and daughter, given the card that you got earlier, this is the other one, the return of Aphrodite. And I'll read this. Temple, birth of the goddess, guidance, goddess energy, treating as sacred. Very nice. Yeah, so I'm sure you know about the mythology of Aphrodite. This would be the lover in the journey archetypes, whose superpower is truth and beauty, bringing that, expressing that in the world. So that's very nice. Let me know if that sounds like your daughter. Yeah, it does. Okay, fantastic. And yes, exactly, Michelle. It is through the removal of programming that we're able to remember that which we are. Simple and surprisingly easy once you get there, but not easy to get there. And good. I'm glad you like that card. That's awesome. All right. So there's no more requests for now, but feel free if you would like to have a reading. Let me see what else I wanted to tell you guys about. So I do get the odd message from people that they would, sorry for the sirens, that they would like to hear more from me and my philosophy, and they maybe like the interviews that I do. I love the interviews that I do. It's so fun to ask people questions, and I get to ask my particular questions and learn what I need to know and what my people need to know. And I just get, they're just the most fun thing for me ever. And, I can have maybe a small cult following for my own individual stuff, and that's almost always how it's been. That's what it is right now with the House of Free Will, a private membership association. There is a good video in there about the private domain and all of those revelations that I've had, including how it's been completely psyoped and controlled opt and fed us a lot of BS in this world. So it's a good description. There's a few workshops on the private. There's law workshops already recorded. There's health workshops. There's creativity workshops. We've had, just a ton of people come in. Amanda Bulmer did one on critical thinking, and Matt Presti did one on creativity, and Joy Honestchuk did one on somatics, 2 parts, and Sherry Rothwell did a 2-parter on nutrition and healing. Although I've gone further than that, she did really help me save my life last year. And for sure, Sherry. So there's a ton of resources in the library there in the House of Free Will. We also have fellowship every single Tuesday. And before the Tuesday, on Mondays, I put out a brand new snippet video. So it tends to be a shorter video, maybe between 15 and 20 minutes. They go a little longer sometimes. Sometimes I'll have a guest to talk with me. This week we had Mark Archer come and talk about the 3 worlds in the Bible, and we had some exchange on how that compares with the Vedic 3 worlds in that philosophy, and that was very enlightening. And then on the Fellowship Tuesdays, we discuss the snippet. So we go deep into it. We're slowly getting to know each other. There's a core group of people who tend to come. It's intimate. The fellowship meetings are not recorded, so you can really truly just relax and be yourself. And then we also these days have started what I call Satsang Sunday, just getting back into some what do you call it? Teachings and stuff like that. Just me looking for inspiration. We've had some Lester Levinson, like I said, Gangaji. I'll be pulling from some of hers. So again, we watch something together that's short and inspiring, and then we discuss it, and we go into that place where the subject is the truth, not the lies, not the wrongs, but the actual truth in our own direct experience. So we can remind each other, like Michelle was saying, so we can remember to see from that place that actually is free. That's always seeing, but that is just overlaid with things. So that's really fun. That's happening every Sunday at 1 p.m. for all members free to the House of Free Will. I wanted to let you know that members of the House of Free Will would also get 25% off of my Hero's Journey Archetype reading, the personal reading, where it's one-on-one, where you get the 8 recordings of the videos, how to deprogram those archetypes, and a 1-hour session with me. And if you book by or before January 7th, then you'll also receive the archetype cards that I created, all 8 2-pagers, beautiful design. So that's all there. And if you wanted to join as a member, it's by application only, just so I can really make sure that we're a good fit, that you're a good fit for the ministry that I have called a ministry. Now I'm wondering, should I call it a ministry or not? It had a strong Christian start. And then I've been through so much of that all I have left of Christianity is Jesus. That's all I have. And I do appreciate, I've been looking into Marty Leeds and different approaches like astrotheology and, levels of meetings. Shout out to Scott Lights, who's got an incredible amount of knowledge about the Bible and has really come through this other side. He was sad to see me go down into the whole of that. And now we're meeting again. So maybe he will come and do a workshop. And so if you wanted to apply, I did share the link here for the House of Free Will, and it's not too late. You could apply now, become a member over the next day or so, and get the 25% off the reading. If you are already a member and you would like to book a reading with me, I'll just lay, in case you don't know, this is the code. If you want to join me for a personal archetype reading, that's how you get 25% off for House of Free Will members only. In a way, I probably shouldn't have shared it here, but I did. So if you could just be honorable in using that. And Dana highly recommends the House of Free Will. That's so lovely. It's been fantastic to have you there. I think you've been there for pretty much for the whole time. A lot of members, they come and go. It's sort of like a moving target, but there's a nice core group of us that it feels amazing, feels like family. Totally want to meet you guys in person. Maybe this year, maybe next year, we'll make an in-person meeting of some kind somewhere nice. All right, Sherry, you would like to have a card pulled for you, and you didn't specify which card, or which deck. And yes, right from the beginning. That's awesome. So Sherry, if I don't hear from you, then I'll choose a card for you. And I would like to read an Osho card for you. All right. So holding Sherry in mind. And this time I'm going to open the book a little bit too, because they're just, oh, look, your heart card just jumped out at me. Ooh, I love this one. Interdependence. Can you see that at all? It's a little there. What a beautiful thing. Hey? And I chose the deck. Good. We're on the same page. So interdependence, how amazing is that? That's nature's way, right? The trees depend on the rain and the sunshine, and the soil depends on the leaves falling and dying and composting, and then the ferns and the moss depend on that in the soil. And so this is just nature's way. Not that we should be dependents, but we should be interdependent. And that's really the true nature of human beings as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, that's beautiful. And I think it speaks for itself. Very good. Hello, Mike New. Nice to see you. And good, Sherry. I'm so glad that that was nice for you. And Odyssey, you're welcome. Happy New Year. I won't call it fake New Year anymore. That's over. I don't get to have fun calling it fake New Year because Ben Balderson, he's almost always the bringer of some kind of truth or buster of some illusion in my world, which is fun. I like that role. And so we're going to talk about how it's not the fake New Year at all, that from death and destruction comes life. Wonderful group of people in the house. Yeah, real people, just real people, right? They're not. I don't know. I don't feel any pretense. They're not trying to prove anything. They're not bumping up against me too much. There's often one person who does a little bit, and that's all right. Keeps me sharp. But just salt of the earth people, real people. Gotta love realness. And here's another real member that we have. Love you, Amos. And why not be with people that charge your battery? Why not? The life is kind of short, right? And if you're always around people that drain you, then you're left with nothing to give to anyone. And that's not purposeful. That's not full of purpose and full of life. So amen is the word. I like that word. And interdependence equals cooperation. Exactly. You do what you're good at, and I'll do what I'm good at, and we'll do it for each other. Yep, really real people. Let's just be real. It's all we want from each other is to be real. And it's all we want ourselves, right? It's the deepest experience we could have. And it's the easiest thing in the world. This was a quote from Lester Levinson. That's, being yourself is the easiest thing. It takes no planning. It takes no strategizing. It takes no calculating. It takes no contorting, right? To get into a world, and then you have to assess, okay, who are these people and what do they want from me and what do they expect from me and how am I going to look the best to them? And they'll be left with all the right thoughts and all of that kind of thing. And if you don't have to do any of that stuff and you just show up and you just be, and whatever's in you to allow it to be there, Doesn't mean you have to indiscriminately go and show your innermost cave to every single person. That I feel is like, yeah, like choose and be with that person who actually could appreciate that, who would benefit from that. That's another great standard to hold, is that to be around people who could actually benefit from your presence. Because if all they are is like triggered and disapproving of you and thinking that you're wrong or you're dangerous or whatever it is, then what, they don't get anything. And you might get some good releasing material, and that's fantastic. That's always good. You can always use everything for freedom. But what if you spent time with people who encouraged you, and that you would feel like you could grow and show yourself, and they could help you cheer and just be there, right? So nice. And Dana, the workshops are great too. Yeah, I'm looking at, what are the workshops for 2025 in the House of Free Will? I would love to hear what kind of subjects you guys want to study, and then I'll go looking for the right person or call in the right person for the subject, just to see, what you want to learn more of. I would love to host Garrett Smith for a workshop. Maybe I'll get brave and ask him. I've asked him for quite a bit already, but I also contribute quite a bit. He has a fantastic community. I just love those people. They are real, and they are practicing this interdependence and cooperation with each other. Because what happens when you in your life get something fantastic, then what's the natural thing that you want to do with that? Right? When you receive something, what do you want to do with that? You want to just run off and be a hermit and oh, I got a good thing. Got a good thing. I was going to go hide out with my good thing. Not so much. What do you guys think? And yes, Mike, I'm pulling cards. I have 4 decks of the Nature's Whisper, the Osho Heart cards, the Oracle of the Mermaid. And yes, Michelle, exactly. Pay It Forward, the Nature deck, and Carolyn Mrs. Archetype cards as well. So if you'd like a card, Mike, you're very welcome. Pull one for you. And you got it. Exactly. You want to pay it forward. You immediately want to do that. And that's the evidence I see in his community, that you come in, and if you have a problem, and a lot of new beginners have problems, and your first 6 months in this framework could be the most difficult of all, because you're going to be finding your footing. You're going to be going into old symptoms coming back, and you're going to think something's wrong here. I've had days where I break out and rash all over my whole entire body, and certain things got worse before they got better. And there were, for me, like viral symptoms, I would just always pull out my sledgehammer when any sign of a virus would come along. And I'd be okay. All right. I got my vitamin C. I got my everything, echinacea, and I got all my herbs, and I got this, and I'm just going to smash you like this. That was all. I don't know, where did I get that philosophy from? It is pretty common. And then, so, because it works, because it takes your symptoms down, what does that actually mean in reality? We love feeling better. Everybody loves that. But in reality, it means that you've shut down your body's detox, right? We're sick because we're detoxing. You guys know that by now. It's not the boogeyman pathogens. It's not like that. It's poison. That's why I called the 2 interviews with him the antidote to the great poisoning. And so as this poison expresses through your body, there are ways to do it that is less painful and more natural. And we talk about poop a lot now, so I'm getting used to that. And then otherwise it's forced through the blood and out the skin and out the eyes and the nose, and just every other possible not good thing. So I would always just take my sledgehammer out. I would start whacking it with all of these herbs and vitamins. And at first it worked really well, and then it stopped working so well, so I'd have more of that, and then it stopped working so well, and so I'd have to have more of that. And then the garlic, the amount of garlic that I ate, unbelievable. It's a miracle I'm not dead from garlic alone. That turns out it is toxic, very toxic, due to the sulfur compound. That's why it smells terrible. Now I have a huge aversion to garlic. I used to love it, like, and why do we love it is because we're desperate to get rid of symptoms. So now when I feel eruptions, in that respect, and they're real signature. I know what they are. It's a bit freaky because I just do nothing except continue to eat well and drink well and then rest well. Been resting. The sleep is off the charts. The quality of my sleep right now. I went through many, many, many years of insomnia, although I have, dealt with it to a large extent. But the depth of sleep that I'm having right now is incredible. And I think it's been a lot of makeup. I'm like 9, 10 hours some nights, just whoo, she's gone. And that's fantastic. Like every day feeling alive and with energy. Wow. Right. So there's my commercial for Garrett Smith's Love Your Liver. I just am in the process of doing a hair test, and you have to hack out your own hair from the roots, right? They need the newer growth. And so I'm grateful I have a bit to go around. I ended up cutting out 12 times as much as I needed. So I hacked out quite a bit of hair, and sending that off, looking forward to the results to help me to be a little bit more precise. And no imposition, Mike. That's what we're doing today. So yeah, I'm happy to pull a card for you. Would you like the nature card, a mermaid card, Carolyn Miss archetype card, or an Osho heart card? You can just let me know quickly and I will for sure pull one for you. And Dana said, interesting, you have a hard time getting on board with him, especially since you've gone so deep on the other side. I know. And I did too, right? And I feel bad. You should have seen me when I started waking up to what I consider to be the much deeper truth of that, and how sad I got for everybody that is in a different paradigm and they're locked there, and for whatever reason, unable to go for the deeper truth. But at some point, you want truth more. Then you want to look good. Then you want to have everything that you said be right. Then you want to be right. And, and we have histories. Garrett had a history of naturopath and giving all the herbs and giving all the everything. And then he had to change and he had to repent and say, I'm sorry, stop with the vitamin D already. Stop with the vitamin A. Stop with the vitamin C. He had to say that because he had all of his patients that paid him to help. And then he has to turn around and say, oh, I was wrong, right? It's terrible. It makes me really glad I don't work in the field of natural health. That's not my, or, like in herbs and vitamins and that kind of thing. I'm just an eternal student in that. And so it's intense. I know, like, people don't want the truth. That's why they only want the truth that suits what they've already created. But personally, I'd rather be wrong and have the truth, right? That's something. And then just to finish the story about when the what I thought used to be boogeyman would come up in my system. Now what happens, it comes up, I see it coming up, I do nothing, I rest. And what happens? It goes like this. Right? Before it used to go, right? And then ramp up and it would get me all, I have to do something. And now it's just like going, because I've had the experience enough times now that I've got the patience, or the patience, or I just have some evidence that if I do nothing but take care of myself, then it doesn't need to become a big thing. It doesn't. That still could happen. I still could go through, a big knock 'em down detox, and I got friends in that situation. It does happen. But if you're smart and you apply the principles and you learn to, it's because you can't just go follow the rules. You can't just go listen and then go and know all the right things to do. It's not like that, because you do have your own system. And so you got to study, you got to do the internal work. Garrett was so great. I invited him to do some deprogramming work because I noticed the parallels in these two. And I've been able to have wonderful influence on the physical by doing the deprogramming. And his people have wonderful influence on like the mood and the mind and the emotions by doing the detoxing. So I thought, what if these two worlds came together? Wouldn't it be amazing? So he's been brave, and he's trying a little bit of that worked with me. He just dove in like a king hero. It was fantastic. Sometimes men can have a very hard time with this work. And he just went for it like anything. So maybe there will come a time where there's some collaboration there as well. And Mike, you want an archetype card. So I'm going to pick this Carolyn Mist deck for you. And you've been loving the Garrett interviews. Fantastic. Yeah, it's good. It's hard for me to recommend because I know it seems to throw other people under the bus, but that is not my intention at all. I just want the truth, and I want, if I'm propagating anything, let it be at least what I believe to be true. Right? What would be the point? Oh yes, Kelly Brogan, and she is on my list. I even heard somebody say that she was recommending me. So sweet. And so yeah, I need to hook up with her. I know lots of people who know her, and no doubt I could just find her. But yeah, I need to connect. All right, Mike. So this is your card. I don't know if you had a question or an intention for 2025, but this is an interesting card called Addict. And so the light attribute of the addict, there's no light in here, is that it helps you recognize and confront addictive behavior, of course. The shadow attributes being compromises integrity and honesty, allows an addictive pattern to have authority over your inner spirit. Yeah. And just in the context of food and everything like that, I had no idea how many of my regular foods that I considered to be health foods were actually addictions. And you can tell because you tend to want more of your addiction to have the satisfaction, just like the garlic, whether it was culinary or for my health. And peppers, hot peppers, I noticed how anybody who takes an interest in hot peppers, they tend to want more and more and more. I know my dad was like that as he declined, he wanted a lot more hot peppers, and he would grow them, and it was all big, kind of entertaining around the table because my nephews, he would challenge my nephews to take a bite out of these terrible peppers. And so, yeah, interesting. Can you resonate at all? It is that, that propensity towards addiction is pretty universal, or at least in this world. I don't know if there's anybody who's not touched by that at all. And would I get enough nourishment with Garrett's method? That's the whole point, that's the whole point, right? That is the whole entire point, because if you're taking in things that are setting your body to enormous amounts of detox, then you're not able to even get from your food. So, and what happens when you replace the things that are more poisonous is that you're putting nutrients in there. So in general, the principles are nutrient dense, but because we have a world where lots of like we hear it all the time, just what's been done to the land and the compromised nature of the food that we get. And that can change in quality depending on where it comes from. But it also can mean that, yes, we're going to need some supplements of classically zinc and molybdenum and selenium and magnesium. So, there's lots of overlap with a lot of other practitioners that will say some of those right things. And I'm better fed than I ever have been. I'm eating 3 meals a day, and digestion is good. My energy's been good. I don't know if I'm getting all my nutrients. That's why I'm doing the hair test. So I want to see. So yeah, there you go. And then Michelle, you said you'd love the card that I pulled because above all else, you want your freedom, independence, and truth. It was super accurate. There you go. Yeah, I thought it just was a wonderful fit for you. And Amos said, what is the deal with cayenne being good for the heart? I know. Well, these things are all touted as remedies, right? And what people don't realize, I didn't mean this to be a whole live stream about Garrett's work, but what people don't realize is that, we think we're so smart. We adopted this alternative medicine method. But where did it come from? Where did it come from? This huge, that people call it like apothecary of herbal medicine. Who was funding all that research? Who was doing all that? Who was pushing that? Who was propagandizing things like vitamin A, saying, you need vitamin A to C. You're going to go blind if you don't go, no, eat the rainbow. And just all of, and then the hot peppers. Yeah. It's like, oh, it's so good for your heart. And really it's a poison and it's an addiction. So it's not good for your heart at all. And you've cut out most other herbs and just used for garnish, right? And yeah, it's also good to, it's not about, you unfortunately can't eliminate all poisons from your diet. And this is a good thing too, to not have that as a goal. At first, I was trying to use that as a goal. And then, I won't use my lip balm because I know calendula has some vitamin A in it. And then I won't use my shampoo because it's golden seal. And then I don't get to wash my hair and I got to draw lips and all of this kind of stuff, So I got past that point, and it's just to be mindful that you're getting less poison, or you're actually, letting go of more poison than you're taking in. That's when you get the good trajectory and the flow towards a good direction, and you start to see greater and greater health. So thank you, Maya. Appreciate that. And do I know if Alex Sek is on board? I think the last I heard, I got brave and I messaged Alec one day just to thank him for having made that introduction for me, and that I've enjoyed really good results. But Alec was so attacked after that interview with Garrett, like people just smashed him, and it was because he said, I don't know if I can actually recommend him. Here's his contact, but I don't know. He just like withdrew out of the whole thing. And so, yeah, he was skeptical. He might still be, but I messaged just to say, like, thank you. It's made such a big difference in my life, and that's okay. Everybody comes in their own time. And Patty, you said micro minerals, nutrients is what most food is missing today due to soil depletion. Yeah. It's interesting with the micro minerals. So here's one of the mind-blowing things for me was that I was always so proud of the quality of salt that I made. Oh, sorry, I left my distiller on. Hopefully that wasn't too noisy for you guys. Now it's quiet. And so, I would eat this Celtic salt that's gray and wet and binds magnesium, which is good, but it also has 80 other trace minerals. And they are basically not good for the body. It's kind of like bottom feeders, eating bottom feeders. The Celtic salt is the bottom of the bottom. And we say, oh, that's fantastic. It has the most minerals. Well, it has the most garbage in it. And so, I never thought I would move to eating refined salt, not table salt, not like we got our, serious standards here, but fully refined salt that is a totally different kind of thing. Thanks to Sane Lady, I got a big bag of magnesium chloride. That turned out to be the best thing ever. Now I do magnesium baths every single night with just my feet so that I'm not using so much magnesium. Otherwise, I would go through it so fast. We have to make another order, by the way. And then the foot baths, they seem fantastic because I almost always feel, even though I'm doing them at night before bed, but I almost always come to life in a way with those magnesium foot soaks. There's something about them that I'm just like bright and alive. It's been maybe a little hard with sleep. I should probably do it at a different time of day. And hello, Annie D. I'm glad you're here over on Rokfin. Welcome. I'm still pulling archetype cards for a little bit yet. If anybody else would like, happy to do that for you. So, but yeah, the soil has been depleted. That is a fact, Jack. Absolutely. And is it possible that Garrett's method isn't for everyone? Well, again, because it's not a method. It's not a method. It's a framework and a basic paradigm. So I'll say no. Yeah, I'll say no, because poison is poison, and people will come along. Oh, well, copper's only poisonous if it's in this amount. And this is one of his principles: is that poison is poison. Like maybe you don't have the heart attack until a certain amount, but it doesn't mean that it's not toxic all the way along and in a cumulative way over time. I can't even imagine how much copper. I know I'm cycling through copper detox, and I can see some of the exact signs of it. And I was a green juicer. I would juice like 3-4 bunches of parsley a week, tons of green leafies. I eat lettuce off the plant like a maniac. That's how I got so sick last year. right? And nearly dropped dead eating all of this beautiful fresh food out of the garden with no poison on it, but there's poison in it. It's natural. The plants have a kind of warfare going on. They can't protect themselves any other way. So plant material for me is reduced. Some people have a lot more plant material. There's the odd vegan in this world, but it is harder. Now there, say Garrett might recommend beef for zinc. One of the big, in particular, protein is very, very important. I know it. I know eating more protein has been fantastic for me. And but there's the odd person that can't tolerate beef, and then so they don't, right? So within the framework, people do different things because you got to follow your own thing. If I just hear somebody say, "Oh, I take 150 milligrams of niacin every day, and this is the path to good health," and I go do that, and then for my system, it ends up being like a nightmare. So I have to find my exact amount of niacin. One of the things I love about him is that he would always get you to go so slow, just the tiniest amount to start, and go stay on a tiny amount for a week, and then next week up that just by another tiny amount, and then it's very different than just like popping the pills and not knowing what happens. It's very scientific inside yourself, and so yeah. So no, Dana, I don't think so. And because everybody has the same basic makeup and same basic system, so things are going to work the same way. If the poison can't go down and out, it goes out in your blood, and it expresses. That's where there's some uniqueness. Some people get all the sinus infections. Some people get headaches. Some people get rashes. Some people get nausea. But it's all the same cause. Is the toxic bile's in the wrong place in your body because it can't get there anyway. So yes, Em, I can pull a card for you. Do you know of my choice? Okay, she said. And okay, it's going to be a nature card. And you're speaking about roots and other vegetables. Sorry. Oh, okay. There you go. I went off on a major tangent. Yeah, exactly. I never thought I would eat a lot of parsnips, but they're low vitamin A. And so that's one of my go-to vegetables. And celery, as long as I don't cook it, and oxalates are out. I know. How did they convince us that kale was a superfood? Oh my goodness. How much kale have people eaten and juiced, especially, which the raw is worst. At least I was cooking my oxalates, but that doesn't remove them. So yeah, totally off oxalates. I never thought I would stop eating broccoli. Speaking of, that's not an oxalate, but speaking of brassicas are out. Anything that smells terrible when you cook it, you don't want it. Now I don't want it. It's amazing. Yeah. Alrighty. And so your card, M, is make a wish. This is kind of loaded because, wishing can be, and the card kind of implies this, it can be in the realm of the child archetype. And the child's wish can be extremely powerful because they don't have all of the developed pathways of blocking that direct path to, the relationship with the creator and them. There's no separation until you teach them to have that separation. And so creation can happen in I use the phrase, wouldn't it be nice if way. And then so making a wish from a child. Now there can be the dark side of the wishing and the hoping and the, wanting and the waiting and like this. And sometimes the path to freedom, I've been hearing this a lot in the recordings from Gangaji, is to actually let go of hope and let there be no hope and let there be no wish and let there be no, the golden age is coming in. My friend was joking, just over 400,000 years, I believe. It's just on the horizon. We're almost there. Close, getting close, right? But just settling in and that wishing. Where does it come from? Starlight, Starbright. NAD said over on Rokfin there. No. Yeah, no, he's down with it. That's been for a long time. He's known about the oxalate thing. it can seem, I'm hearing it less and less. At first, I thought there was lots of contradictions. And if you go back into older archives, you will find him saying different things than he's saying today. He's a fast learner. And that can be hard on us because we just want to get the fact and that's it. And then we're done. But the facts have evolved and changed. And so the thing that I like is he goes heavy science in his live streams, and he reads the actual PubMed papers, and he translates all of that stuff that the average person could never on their own do. So that's fun because I'm able to hear that much more now. I can even stay with it as I'm listening rather than just having to blank out and go, okay, and I go on intuition a lot, but a lot more understanding is coming. And hello, Sarah. Nice to see you. I'm still pulling archetype cards for a little bit yet. If you would like to have one, you're most welcome. And you said you feel like eating less and using food as medicine, focusing carefully from being grateful for the way it makes you feel. With the food journal. Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, I love that. One of the recommendations is every time you eat for a week, take a picture, set a timer for 30 minutes. And then when the timer goes off, you look and you see, how do I feel? And then you rate that food. So you can go like, oh yeah, every single time I eat XYZ, I don't feel good. But gratitude is a really amazing thing as well. It generally is a nice personal nourishment hack. Nice. I love that. But small amounts of food. It's the Goldilocks principle. It's not too little food and it's not too much food. And that applies to every single substance that you put in your body, whether it's water, right? It's not like glug, 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 drink more water, drink more water. Should drink some water here. But it's drink the amount of water that's perfect for your body in that time. And that's a hard thing for people to get. And I didn't like it. Just tell me, like, if it's 4 glasses or 8 glasses, just tell me. No, I'll do the thing. But it's like, no, you got to watch the signs and see any signs of dehydration. And I suspect with all of the dehydration propaganda that we've had, that in fact, the reality is much more that we're overhydrated. Right? Go figure. Everything's just so backwards. And yep. Food journal is one of your goals. Fantastic. Amos. Yep. Thunder Bay. That's awesome. You're not too far. Only 2-day drive. So much in Canada. So, and Annie said, how do you express to a friend your good wishes? I hope you feel better. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. So many, we get stuck in word jail with a whole lot of things. That's something that 2024 was a year that I let myself much more out of word jail than I ever have been, although it's still there. And words have a certain influence, but it's what you do with those words. That's the real part, right? The words themselves, they don't do anything. Can you give me a word? How real is a word? Give me one, right? I can't take your word. That's fascinating. They create an expression around that. And so the real part is what you do, what you create, what you express. And then so, when somebody's down and not feeling good and having a tough time, and, it's, or they had a very serious loss of some kind. And then we come with our words and it's awkward. But I would always err on the side of like, let it be awkward. Just let that be the case, and even just say the awkward thing, because when you say nothing because you're afraid that it's going to be awkward, then it's like a tragedy. Yep. There you go. All right. Well, I wonder if we're starting to come down. We talked about food so much, I'm starting to get hungry now. And just let me see if there's anything else. I'll recap that Benjamin Balderson is coming on this coming Monday at 1 p.m. to talk about how life comes from death and destruction. So that's going to be really cool. I love Ben Balderson. He's awesome. He's doing some debating these days, and not inside the truth world, but just for, to sharpen his tacks. And I'll be sharing a link to his, what the heck is the name of his channel? Does anyone know offhand? See if I can get it really quickly. If you visit him at, it's a pet peeve of mine when people create names that there's no chance for remembering. It's called Deliberating Dogface Dude. Deliberating Dogface Dude. Okay? So if you go on YouTube, you will find that channel where he's doing some debates. And if you haven't yet subscribed to my son for his 18th birthday, then I would appreciate if you could take a minute to do that and even say hi. He's all about guns, guitars, and knives. And he's got some clips. I wish he had a lot more guitar up, but I'll get him to do that in the new year. He's been a good tech for me, and he did create these. That's why they're a little chunky. Just so you know, I have partly of the next version coming, but it hasn't arrived yet. So forgive me for them being chunky. And late response, you had to drop off. No worries. You can relate very much. That means a lot to you at the moment. Good, Mike. I'm glad. Yeah, I think it's good for everyone. That's the beauty of doing readings like this, is everybody gets something from everyone. And the other thing to know is that I am doing archetype readings personally as well, one-on-one. It's not something that I've done very often, but I felt called and inspired right now because I have some space and kind of, moving along nicely. My coaching training is about going on halfway through now. Fantastic, amazing group of people. Shout out to you guys. Probably, I don't want to put any other classes down. They've all been incredible, but this is the most refined group that I've had that is able to make use of this work in a beautiful way. So shout out to you guys. And if you'd like to do a personal reading with me, then all you have to do is to find the details, to click this link. And then what you would experience is a 1-hour session with me based on your journey archetype or archetypes, a combination of doing my assessment. Even if you've done it before, I send you a fresh link to do it again to see where you are at now, because you do travel the journey. That's why it's called Journey, the hero's journey, because it's a traveling band. And so you get the 60-minute one-on-one reading with a recording. You also get 8 archetype videos. I didn't expect to be so extensive on how to deprogram each of the archetypes based on the common programming and the common questions that will bring up the programming. So those are really cool. And then if you book by or before January 7th, I will also throw in my brand new archetype cards that I've designed and spent a lot of time with over the holidays to get to a new place specifically for my clients in Journey Code. And then I realized, wouldn't this be a nice bonus to the people that come for an archetype reading, the Hero's Journey archetype reading? So finding out where you are on the path of purpose, and then what actually stands in their way of having clear direction for this year that we're in now. Because we spent 4 years troubleshooting all the crap, and they're still throwing crap at us, but we're less vulnerable to the crap now. And so now that you're not troubleshooting so much anymore, that's the hope anyway, then what would you like to see in front of you? It can be so hard to vision when you just got the crap flying and you're the one volleying the crap, and you're always relative to the crap. But what if, if that just clears, what's your direction, your purposeful direction that points towards why you are here in the first place? I am a very big fan of people finding their sacred purpose. I have a course in that, and the Hero's Journey archetype reading is a really good first step towards that. So it's good for people who've never done any work with me before. If you want to just get your feet wet and have a little sense of it, then you can click this link and see all the details. And it's also good for those who've already done a bunch of work and they want to go deeper. And that's the capacity, that's the beauty of the archetypes. I have never got to the bottom of an archetype in, nearly, 25 more and more years now working with them. I have not found the bottom. And I work with them a lot, and I teach them a lot, and then I end up doing the cards, and I do the videos, and still going through every time, seeing new levels and new layers, and being a good measure and marker of where I am at myself as well. So that's that. If you wanted to join the House of Free Will in the short term, then you could get 25% off of that. And so here's the link one more time to the House of Free Will. This is an application link, so it needs to be a two-part process. You apply, and then I will accept your application. I accept most of them, but every so often it's just not a right fit. They're coming for something. I just want to let you know, if you're coming for law stuff, I've been disillusioned in the law, and I think I kind of got to the place in the law that I wanted to get to. So there are resources there. There are things that teach you like what's real and what's fake. I do recommend one of my courses called Primal Power, where we looked at the fake and the real about the public and the private, because it contains that masculine, feminine archetype, which the public and the private are. And if you become a member of the House of Free Will, then you can qualify for 25% extra savings on the reading. So it's pretty good. And because it's the House of Free Will, I can't force you to stay. So if you want to just join me for the reading, that's all right. And I think that is pretty much all. So nice to see you over on X, by the way. We have been live on Rumble and X and Facebook and YouTube and Vigilante TV and Rokfin. And then after all of these, whether it's an interview or this live stream, it gets uploaded to the podcast channel. So iTunes and Spotify and you name it. There's a whole bunch of them. There are always links below in the show notes at my blog. If you haven't been to my website, bethmartins.com is there. And then you can find all of the archives. If you bump into an archive that's missing because of the X channel that I have, then just send us a message. I have every single interview saved. I just haven't gone back because there was such a volume of them. I don't know what number I'm at. I can't remember. I don't know, approaching 300 or something like that streams in the last few years. So yeah, I think that feels all for now, unless there's anybody still waiting for an archetype card or a mermaid card or a Osho card. And thank you very much, Em. I'm glad you made it to the stream today. That's really awesome. And yeah, I'm looking forward to Monday as well. Thank you so much. If you have suggestions about guests for interviews also, and forgive me if I don't take every suggestion, because it's got to be something that's just genuinely, I want that, because I have to put a lot of work into it. And I noticed that if I didn't really want that and I put a lot of work into it, I start to resent it. So, but I would love any suggestions. And thank you so much, Sherry. I'm really glad that you could make it. That's awesome. So I'm going to play us out again with a clip from my son. And so much love to you guys. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day and a fantastic 2025. And that's all for now. See you back Monday.